You've heard of Jason Takes Manhattan, but what about Michael Takes Chicago? Hey everyone, it's Kevin with Always Halloween, and I'm here today to talk to you about the idea that the sequel to the 1978 Halloween could have been much, much different than the one that we got. Now, famously, Halloween 2 in 1981 was pretty much on the same night, right away from the first one where Michael shot off the balcony. We get the scene right at the beginning of Halloween 2 where Dr. Loomis goes out to the grass. Michael's gone. He feels the grass and sees the blood on his hand. And away we go. And, a lot of that movie takes place at the hospital in Haddonfield. So that's the sequel we got. But did you know that originally John Carpenter and Deborah Hill had come up with the idea that the second Halloween, the sequel, would take place at a high-rise apartment building, theoretically in Chicago, where Laurie Strode would have moved on and would be living in a high-rise apartment to kind of get away from her suburban nightmare that had happened to her in Halloween. So she's possibly finding some security in a high-rise city atmosphere versus a small town where all the bad stuff happened to her. John Carpenter had made a movie, I think a few years before Halloween, called Someone's Watching Me, which primarily took place all in a high-rise apartment building. Very few scenes outside of that building, but it was very much setting up for what would become Halloween. A lot of those scenes in that movie set up, terrors lurking, the tension that someone could be watching you, someone from the shadows could be stalking you. And so Someone's Watching Me really, I think, laid the groundwork for Halloween. So I can definitely see the tie-in to why maybe they wanted to go that route for Halloween 2. Now, ultimately, they ended up not going that way, and a lot of that, I think, was because they had maybe thought that it would be very similar to Someone's Watching Me. I want to take that idea, though, and expand it out a little bit, because sequels, in my opinion, should be much bigger, much bolder. I mean, Scream 2 talks about the rules for a sequel. Now, honestly, I do like the idea of everything being contained in a high-rise apartment. I think that could lend to a lot of tension, Michael Myers lurking, and things like that. But, let's expand it out. What would that look like? What would it look like if Laurie Strode does indeed move to Chicago? She's trying to escape the small town atmosphere. This is a few years removed from Halloween, so maybe she's graduated high school. She has a job or an internship. She's living alone, maybe with a roommate. That would be a cool twist. In an apartment building. And, little tidbits here and there of Michael throughout the city. She's thinking she sees Michael. Maybe we get an idea that she's now seeing a psychiatrist because of what happened with everything in Halloween. And so, again, she's thinking maybe she's having visions, or is this really Michael? That would be a cool concept to play with. I think one of the biggest things that'd be a cool concept to play with is Dr. Loomis is now her psychiatrist. And I would like to see that play out. It would be kind of cool for both of them to kind of show shared experiences. And it would have been really cool, I think, to get more on-screen time with Donald Pleasance and Jamie Lee Curtis. I think Halloween 2 and Halloween 1978, you really didn't see much on-screen time with both the actors. And this would be a great opportunity to explore that, shared trauma and really seeing what they're both going through and things like that. maybe Dr. Loomis also starts seeing Michael around. I know one of the concepts they had talked about in the high-rise pitch was they were going to take a family photo, and in the background, after the photo was developed, you were going to be able to see like his mask or whatever poking out from the back. And I thought that was really cool. So maybe we could bring that to this movie as well. But again, city atmosphere. Let's make this bigger and bolder. Jason Takes Manhattan. I think one of the big faux pas they made was not enough Jason in Manhattan. Like, we really only got that really cool scene of him walking through Times Square. In Chicago, let's see more big city scenes. Let's see, Michael kill people in the streets. Let's see him in the apartment building. Bring some of that where, he kills some neighbors. Again, he's going after Laurie Strode. And it doesn't have to be like she's his sister. I think you could go with the idea that she's the one that got away. So really, Halloween 1978, he shot off the balcony, he's gone, he's disappeared, and that's how you leave it. And now he's back looking for her, like the one that got away. She thinks she escaped this horror, but she hasn't. And again, like, I think you can show like a lot of the trauma she's going with, and are these visions of Michael, what she's seeing, real or are they fake? And I think that would be a really cool concept to play with. But you could get cool chase scenes, I think, throughout the city, and really use the city's imagery to help, because I think it would be a great juxtaposition where the original Halloween, you have the suburban small town environment, and then in this Halloween 2, you have the big cityscape and everything with that. And like, how would Michael fit into a city? Because you would imagine in Haddonfield, if they had gone back later, I mean, if you see a guy in a white mask, it's Michael Myers. Whereas in this big city, probably no one's ever heard of what happened in Haddonfield. It was a small incident. So I think that would be a lot of fun set in Halloween. So you could have great scenes where everyone's trick-or-treating and Michael's now out in the open with his mask on, and maybe that's the culmination. So the lead up is all him stalking her before Halloween. Halloween is him on the streets, full Michael Myers gear, fitting in with the trick-or-treaters, maybe killing random, trick-or-treaters on the streets, things like that. I think there's a lot to play with here. And I would have liked to see it, I think. Again, sequel, let's go bigger, let's go bolder. Maybe the end is akin to Die Hard, where they're fighting in the apartment building, and Michael gets thrown off the building. What a way to go, right? Like falling down off the building to his death. I think that would have been a great way to, end the sequel and have a great book ending of him falling off the bill, or maybe Loomis shoots him off, right? But this time there's no coming back, because instead of just falling in the grass, he's falling off a apartment building. So I think that would have been a great book ending, and really had some closure. Obviously, I don't know if you could bring him back after that. So it would have just been Halloween 2. But yeah, I think it would have been fun to have seen. What are your thoughts, though? Would you have liked to see Michael Myers take Chicago? What would that look like? Do you think that would be scary, though, because it is such a big open environment, or do you prefer seeing him in a small town environment? Let me know in the comments below. And what's your idea for a Halloween 2 sequel? Do you have something different that you want to go and explore? Thank you so much for watching. This has been Always Halloween.